The end to which Jesus refers in Matthew chapter 24, verse 14, is the same end described in Matthew chapter 24, verses 3 and 6 as the end of the age, the end of the old covenant, and the beginning of the new. That first century church generation lived at the time of the consummation of the ages. Peter and James confirmed this when they wrote that the end of all things is at hand, 1 Peter chapter 4, and that the coming of the Lord is at hand, James chapter 5. The rule of thumb when we interpret the Bible is to understand a text in terms of its original setting and audience. We need to guard against the common mistake of transferring what was written then to the present day and interpret it in the modern language of our time. We always have to place ourselves in the position of the writers and ask the right questions like, how easily did those who first read the Gospels and epistles in that first generation understand what they were reading? We understand that the New Testament writers saw and described their world as only encompassing what they knew of the Roman Empire and those nations bordering the empire. Therefore, as modern day interpreters, we should not impose our expanded understanding of our world or universe on their writings. For example, let us consider how Jesus used awe when he first compared the days of Noah with the days of the Son of Man. They ate and drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Luke chapter 17. If we apply the modern day interpretation and believe that this was a global flood which destroyed them all, would refer to everybody on the face of the earth, and only the 8 in the ark were saved. Promoters of a local flood understanding would interpret awe to be limited to the geographical extension of the flood. But if awe is interpreted to mean everyone without exception, then when Jesus compares the days of the Son of Man to the days of Lot, there is a problem. Likewise, as it was also in the days of Lot, they ate, they drank, they bought, they sowed, they planted, they built. But on the day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Luke chapter 17. It can be concluded that from this passage, that awe only refers to those in Sodom at that particular time and cannot in any way be understood to mean that destruction was global. The following examples will show that all nations and all kingdoms often have a limited geographical application, and not every nation around the globe. Cyrus, the king of Persia, said, "The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth." Ezra chapter 1. David wrote, "All nations surrounded me." Psalm 118. God brought the fear of David on all the nations. 1 Chronicles chapter 14. It was written of Hezekiah, king of Judah, that he was exalted in the sight of all nations. 2 Chronicles chapter 32. The people from all the earth came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph. Genesis chapter 41. All the earth was seeking the presence of Solomon. 1 Kings chapter 10. Nebuchadnezzar addresses his decree as the king to all the peoples, nations, and men of every language that live in all the earth. Daniel chapter 4. At Pentecost, there were Jews living in Jerusalem, devout men from every nation under the heaven. Acts chapter 2. Jesus told his disciples that they would be hated by all nations. Matthew chapter 24. God bless.